Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Good News Day. That's right. It's not all doom and gloom out there, guys. There's good things happening, and we have found the stories about that. So if you're looking for a positive look at the world around us, well, this is the show for you. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our news stories 10 to 15 minutes before we've started, and we have had no caffeine. We're drinking this live from our beds, so let's go ahead and look at these headlines for today. Today on Before Coffee, TikTok landscaper raises $800K for elderly disabled woman who couldn't find anyone to mow her lawn, and Japanese aquarium cheers up lonely sunfish by taping photos of human faces to its tanks.
Good news from the United States from Good News Day. Hero brain surgeon and son save 5 Malibu homes from wildfire. And Somalia and Ethiopia have a peace deal.
Denmark is to ditch the parenting competency test for Greenlandic families.
And Indonesia has a groundbreaking program for free nutritious school meals.
The Witcher and survival simulation, how Polish gaming companies achieved international success.
And it's National Squirrel Appreciation Day and also National Hugging Day. So if you can, hug a squirrel, you'll appreciate it. On January 21st and 2025 on Before Coffee.
There's a lot of squirrels out there that need to hug, and I guess a lot of sunfish that need to see a face. So make sure you appreciate nature out there today, and, maybe give an acorn to a passing by squirrel who's confused because it's both winter and summer at the same time, depending on where you live. Let's talk about plants, specifically grass. Grass likes to grow on your lawn, especially in America where a lot of people only have lawns, and it gets really tall, almost like a giant meadow. And some people are just too old and elderly, or maybe just don't have the tools in order to mow their lawn. That's where this TikTok landscaper comes in. Now, I've seen some of his videos, and I do like watching him mow lawns. It's very hypnotizing to just speed watch somebody mow a lawn. But,
very satisfying.
We were talking shit about TikTok, or I was talking shit about TikTok yesterday, so I'd like to look at some positive things TikTok has brought, like enough money to help this elderly disabled woman mow her lawn and afford other things, I think, as well. This is by Andy Corbley, of course, by Good News Network. Who knew that trimming bushes and mowing lawns could be the catalyst for so much good in the world? Serially viral TikTok account SB Mowing has been featured on Good News Network before. Owned and operated by a young man named Spencer, it features him mowing people's lawns who, for whatever reason, lack the physical strength or time to do it themselves. In July, Good News Network reported that after finding a wounded tabby cat during one of his mows, Spencer took it to a cat shelter that was on the eve of closing down. Channeling his channel for good, SB Mowing sponsored a GoFundMe which raised $190 in donations for the shelter. This time, Spencer was visiting an elderly woman with an overgrown yard named Beth. Beth explains that after looking for someone to mow her lawn and shear her yard and plants without success, a local government busybody paid her a visit and gave her a few weeks to take care of the mess or have a $240 fine. Man, yeah, no one. Local government busybody. Wow, other things are happening in the world, but let me pester this old lady because our lawn isn't top down. It's grass. It's not gonna hurt anybody. Actually, tall grass is better for the environment because it gives insects more places to grow. I'll do the backyard, whatever you need, I'll do it for free, and I won't charge you a dime, Spencer said in the 6-minute video that accumulated 94 million views, adding that the lawn isn't even that bad. I'm gonna get it looking like you've never seen it before. Off Spencer goes with his landscaping tools, needing about 4 minutes of extreme time-lapse videography to finish the job. I cried on and off just listening to your machines, Beth admitted at the end of the video during the big reveal. That was the end of the video as far as Spencer was concerned, but not for his followers, who left over 21,000 comments, among which were hundreds asking if there was any way they could do more, or they could donate to Beth so she could afford to hire landscapers full time. A staggering $800,000. That's way more than the $190 for the cat. Was raised in a GoFundMe set up for that purpose. In January 13th update, Spencer announced he was working with an attorney to create a trust fund for Beth to ensure no one could take advantage of her for her new money she was about to receive. Some would be given to her in cash, and a portion would also be donated to charity. They kind of fell in love with you and your story, Spencer explained to Beth in a follow-up video. We just wanted to come together as a community to help you out and get you a better spot. Overwhelmed, Beth remarked, she can't even cry. I can't even think. Those are things dreams are made of. That's right, 800,000 raised. So TikTok isn't all terrible. Sometimes people use their fame out there to help people. And of course, SB Mowing. I don't think there's people out there who do help people and they do it to get more money.
No.
But I don't think SB Mowing is one of those people.
You have a very good old lady voice.
Thank you. But SB Mowing is definitely one of those people that likes doing landscaping, I guess, and he likes helping people out because it's really no problem for him. And it's actually free advertising because people see how well he does with some of these very underkempt lawns, abandoned houses, and
right.
See what good job he does. So for him, it's just free advertising. Really smart, honestly.
They usually have the clickbait title. The police made me stop, or the neighbor called the cops, or something like
this
that.
lady cried after I gave her $800K in donation. But anyways, speaking of humanity not being all terrible, for these sunfish, they're almost a requirement. This is by Justin McCurry from Tokyo on The Guardian. Do fish get lonely? Apparently so. According to a staff at an aquarium in Japan, who have provided cut-out human companions for solitary sunfish, they noticed had started to look unwell. The fish had started to look out of sorts soon after the aquarium in the western city of Shimonoseki closed for refurbishment in December. Oh, so they haven't seen anybody at the aquarium since December. The animal, which weighed almost 28 kilograms when it was brought to Kaiokan almost a year ago, suddenly stopped eating jellyfish and started rubbing its body against the side of the tank. Aquarium staff feared the sunfish, which had been caught in Japanese coastal waters, was suffering from a parasite or a digestive problem. One, however, suggested it might be struggling to adapt to the absence of visitors, as well as the noise and vibrations made by the construction work. Their colleagues were skeptical, but the theory proved correct. That's right, the fish like that you look at them. A day after the staff taped large photos of human faces attached to a row of uniforms on the side of the tank, the fish regained its appetite and looked generally more content, according to the Manchichi Shimbun. It may have become lonely due to the sudden absence of visitors, which could have contributed to its health issues, an aquarium expert told the newspaper. The sunfish had become one of the most popular attractions at the aquarium thanks to its friendly nature. It's curious and would swim up to visitors when they approached the tank, Mike Kato, a member of the staff, told the Mainichi. A post about the sunfish on the aquarium's Twitter account had attracted more than 12.6 million views and comments encouraging the fish to stay healthy. A photo on the facility's Instagram page also positive comments. Most Japanese encounter sunfish, known for their big eyes, awkward-looking shape, and distinctive fins. In captivity, but they are still eaten as a bycatch in some regions along the Pacific coast, according to the Agricultural Ministry, which describes them as chewy with a texture similar to whitefish or chicken breast. Kato said she hoped the fish would resume its special relationship with visitors when the aquarium reopens in the summer. I hope many people take interest in the sunfish, and when the renovation work is finished, I'd like the visitors to wave to it from the front of the tank, she said. It is not the first time an aquarium in Japan has taken an unusual step to ensure its animals have human company. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, staff at Sumida Aquarium in Tokyo said its population of frightened garden eels were disappearing beneath the sand with increasing regularity after apparently forgetting what humans look like. The aquarium said pandemic-enforced closures had denied the eels regular contact with visitors and made them anxious whenever a member of staff passed their tank. In response, it set up tables facing the tank and asked users to make calming video calls to eels on a FaceTime app. "Here is an urgent request," the aquarium roared. "Could you show your face to our garden eels from your home?" it said. But that is the story of how fish actually like that you look at them, and that you need to, I guess, get ready to visit the sunfish in Japan if you can. If you find yourself in Japan in the summer, make sure to drop by the aquarium and let the sunfish know. It's not forgotten. My sunfish are really cool though. They're huge. They're just huge, but they're flat. They're like I don't know. They're sunfish. If you've never seen a sunfish, I don't know. Google it.
They're panfish.
Yeah.
They're panfish. In other words, you lay them flat in a pan.
Yeah.
They're shaped like a pan.
Yeah. And they have eyes on. They have eyes on both sides of that face, similar to, I guess, like what is the other fish that's flat? Like that.
A crappie, a bluegill.
No. The one that blows up.
Halibut.
Can't remember what it's called now, but it's an Ariel. Ariel has a fish.
I want a license for my pet fish, Eric.
Well, as my brain slowly breaks down, I can't remember the name of fish. That's my stories on
Monty Python kit.
TikTok donations and lonely sunfish that are now not less lonely because they have faces. Look at them. And on to your stories.
Right on. And where are heroes made? Heroes are made from disasters. That's right. And here's a story about a brain surgeon. Well, saving your house isn't brain surgery, but in this case, it might have been. Hero brain surgeon and son saved 5 Malibu homes from wildfire through preparation and sheer will. A real quick story. You might have seen this on TV. A brain surgeon and his son ignored evacuation warnings and instead put into action an emergency plan to save their oceanfront home and their neighbor's home in the gorgeous Malibu community near Los Angeles. For 2 straight days and nights before firefighters arrived, a neighbor joined them in struggling to put out fires wherever they erupted during the blustery conditions brought on by fierce Santa Ana winds. Brain surgeon Dr. Chester Griffiths says their victory over the Palisades fire wasn't just physical bravery. For years in advance, he planned for a wildfire by buying high-pressure hoses, professional firefighting gear, and flame-retardant home building materials. Not only that, they trained to learn about disaster preparedness. As a result, the father-son duo, along with neighbor Clayton Colbert, and local firefighters saved 5 homes along with the beach, whereas so many others were turned into smoldering rubble. "We did it," he said, exhausted, in a video for social media. "Our houses are here." Thankfully, the winds have finally died down in California, allowing firefighters to bring 40,000 acres of wildfires under control. So there's your quick good news hero type stuff. Preparation wins the day. Hell yeah. Other good news. We're going to go to Africa, and countries that have not necessarily been seen eye to eye have agreed on a compromise. The intention is, this is from AlJazeera.com, but by the last story was from Good News Network with no byline. This is from Al Jazeera. Somalia, Ethiopia agree on compromise to end tension, Turkey's leader says. That's right. Turkey's President Erdogan announces the breakthrough after talks between Ethiopia and Somalia leaders in Ankara. Somalia and Ethiopia have agreed on a joint declaration to resolve their dispute over their breakaway Somaliland region and landlocked Ethiopia's push for sea access. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has announced. Speaking at a joint news conference in Ankara, Erdogan late on Wednesday, thanked Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for their historic reconciliation. Hailing the agreement, Erdogan said he hoped the deal would be the first step towards a new beginning based on peace and cooperation between Somalia and Ethiopia, and would eventually ensure that Ethiopia, the most populous landlocked country in the world, gains sea access. I believe with the meeting we had today, especially with Ethiopia's demands to access to the sea, my brother Sheikh Mohammed will give the necessary support for accessing the sea, the Turkish leader said. The joint declaration focuses on the future, not the past, and records the principles that these two friendly countries, which are very important to us, we build from now on, Urian said later in a post on social media. There's some social media stuff, and it's all written in Turkish, so I'm not going to be able to read it. The two neighboring countries in the Horn of Africa have seen tensions escalate since Ethiopia struck a deal in January with Somalia's breakaway region of Somaliland. Sounds like a amusement park, doesn't it? Let's go to Somaliland, everybody. Anyway, the breakaway region of Somaliland leased the stretch of its coastline for an Ethiopian port and military base in exchange for diplomatic recognition, although this was never confirmed by Addis Ababa. The latest news, the move prompted a fierce diplomatic and military row with Somalia, which branded the deal a violation of sovereignty, setting international alarm bells ringing over the risk of renewed conflict as the dispute drew in Ethiopia's long-standing rival Egypt and Eritrea. Somaliland seceded from Somalia more than 30 years ago, but is not recognized by the African Union or the United Nations as an independent state. Somalia still considers Somaliland part of its territory. Over the years, Somaliland has built a stable political environment, contrasting sharply with Somalia's ongoing struggles with insecurity and amid deadly attacks by al-Shabaab rebels. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy and Somali President Mohammed arrived in Ankara early on Wednesday for the talks, which are the latest following two earlier meetings that were made little progress. According to the text of the agreement released by Turkey, the parties agreed to leave behind differences of opinion and contentious issues and resolutely move forward in cooperation towards common prosperity. Both have agreed to work together on commercial arrangements and bilateral agreements that would ensure Ethiopia's reliable, safe, and sustainable access to the sea under the sovereign authority of the Federal Republic of Somalia. They will now initiate technical talks later in the end of February, which are to be completed within 4 months, and continuing differences are to be dealt with through dialogue where necessary, with the support of Turkey. Speaking alongside Erdogan, his remarks translated into Turkish, Ethiopians Abiy said, "We have addressed the misunderstanding that have occurred over the past year. Ethiopia's desire for secure access to the sea is a peaceful venture and will benefit our neighbors. It's a venture that must be seen in the spirit of cooperation, not suspicion," he said. The Somali leader, whose remarks were also translated, said the agreement had put a halt to their differences and that his nation was ready to work with the Ethiopian leadership and the Ethiopian people. Turkey has been mediating between the two countries since July, leading discussions aimed at resolving their differences. So way to go, Turkey, stepping up to the plate to mediate a dispute and get Ethiopia some sea access, so the starving people can get their things, directly from the seaports. They don't have to count on the United Nations all the time and the Red Cross to feed people because, hey, we got no seaport. Well, good news for Ethiopia. Good news for peace, hopefully. And back to you.
So, very close.
They're landlocked.
No, I mean, like it's not like they're in the middle of Africa. They're right, like they're very close to the coast.
They're cruelly landlocked by Somaliland.
Yeah.
Which is
the pirates.
Not officially a country.
But definitely
a well-run, not official country.
Yeah,
definitely
a
well-run, apparently non-country. Yeah.
And just like pirates, they scour the shore, stopping everyone else from and stealing all your goods as well. I guess they also do that.
And scallywags. Yeah. Anyway, and more.
But
more good news
here for Somalia. I mean, not for Somalia. For Ethiopia, one of the oldest African nations who never actually got colonized. Fun fact: never got colonized by any European nation. Now, a place that did get colonized is Greenland. Greenland is actually Denmark, but over there in North America, but they're still considered a European country. See, and this is why everything's all made up. Greenland is a great example of how we all made stuff up. The rules don't really matter. But we've got some good news coming out of Greenland. This is from Miranda Bryant on The Guardian. Human rights bodies have long criticized the test of parenting competency as culturally unsuitable for Greenlandic people. It sounds very colonistic, doesn't it? Hey, we're deciding if you raised your child right according to our standards, not Greenland standards, but Danish standards. Totally different culture, by the way. Denmark has announced it's abandoning the use of the highly controversial parenting competency tests on Greenlandic families amid fury over the way they have been routinely used on people with Inuit backgrounds. Wow, who would have thought? After resulting in the separation of children from their parents, and then probably the cultural genocide of said children, so that they don't even know any of their cultural practices and they're just generic Danish kids, I guess. Campaigners have been warning about the discriminatory impact of the psychometric test used in Danish child protection investigations, known as FKU. Here we go. Forældrekompetencesødrogelse. I apologize for my Danish. For years, human rights bodies have long criticized them as being culturally unsuitable for Greenlandic people and other minorities living in Denmark, which once ruled the Arctic island as a colony and continues to control its foreign and security policy. After weeks of heightened tensions between Copenhagen and Nuuk, sparked by Trump's vow to acquire the autonomous territory for the US, I don't know why they need Greenland for, the Danish government has announced it has agreed to end the use of standardized psychological tests in child cases involving families with a Greenlandic background. Doubts have been raised as to whether a standardized psychological test sufficiently takes into account the Greenlandic culture and language, it said. Therefore, the Danish government and the Greenlandic government have agreed to abolish the use of standardized psychological tests in child cases with families of Greenlandic background when assessing parental competence. This person's crazy! Why? Because they're Inuit, I don't know. Statement marks a significant U-turn policy on the tests, which were the subject of renewed focus at the end of last year after the highly publicized case of Kira Alexandra Kronvold, whose separation from her child just 2 hours after giving birth in November elicited widespread outrage and series of ongoing protests in Copenhagen and Nuuk. This woman's not psychologically available to be a mother 2 hours after giving birth. Yeah, no one is. Not a single woman is ready to be a mom 2 hours after birth. Except for Superwoman.
You're never a mom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Crazy. Then the Danish Minister of Social Affairs, Housing, Sophie Herstrup Andersen, stopped short of a ban, instead calling only for municipalities to consider stopping the use of the criticized tests. Last week, however, she said the Danish government had listened to the serious concerns raised about the tests and had come up with an alternative in the form of a special unit with the Greenlandic cultural expertise, which will in future assist municipalities in such cases. The Danish Institute for Human Rights said in 2022 that, as the tests had not been adapted to take cultural differences into account, Greenlandic parents ran the risk of obtaining low test scores, so that it concluded, for example, that they had reduced cognitive abilities without there being actual evidence for this. Do you believe God is real? Yes. Oh, you're very smart. Okay, you're allowed to have children. That's what it sounds like, right? Do you believe the whales have a spiritual place in your life? Yes. You're crazy. Whales are just animals. This person doesn't deserve to be a parent because they're stupid. Cognitive. Such potential misjudgments can have far-reaching consequences for both parents and children. As in the extreme, they can contribute to their forced removal of a child. Louise Holk, the director of the Danish Institute for Human Rights, said on yesterday, the 20th, she welcomed the decision to scrap them, adding, "These tests fail to account for language barriers and cultural differences, risking unfair assessments of Greenland parents." Others questioned the timing, which comes soon after convicted felon Trump declared that acquiring Greenland would be an absolute necessity for the U.S. What are they doing? Planning on invading the North Pole? I don't understand why you need Greenland. And his son, Donald Trump Jr., made a flying visit to the territory. Akka Hansen, an Inuit filmmaker who has been organizing the protest, said, "It's a big surprise to us that all of a sudden they are able to make changes to the law." It's long overdue, and we need to make sure each and every case will be reevaluated by an Inuit team to make sure our children get a fair chance. She questioned whether the announcement would even have been made had it not been for Trump's Jr.'s visit, adding, "I'm afraid nothing would have happened had it not been here." Since Trump's advances, Copenhagen has gone into a diplomacy overdrive in Washington that has rapidly changed its tone on Greenland. In a televised debate on the 19th of January, broadcast both in Denmark and Greenland, Mute Egede, the Greenlandic Prime Minister, said that the autonomous territory had enough of being told it should be grateful to Copenhagen for being good colonial masters. If Denmark had behaved better toward Greenlanders, he added, perhaps they would not be debating the island's future. I agree. I mean, I still think it's weird. I don't know what Greenland should do, but I think it's weird that Denmark still has a colony in Greenland and they're considered Denmark and Denmark citizens. I think that's weird. But
yeah, well, Diaper Donnie's thinking about buying Denmark.
Yeah,
so
very weird.
I'm sorry, Greenland. So
I don't.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Nothing
Yeah.
is for sale.
In response to the announcement about the parenting test being scrapped, Akaluk B. Egede, the Greenlandic Minister for Children, Youth, Education, Culture, Sports, and Church, said, "I am very pleased that the Danish government agrees with the Naalakkersuisut, the Greenlandic government, to meet the heartfelt wish from the Naalakkersuisut and the Greenlandic population. It has been a long-term process to achieve our goal of stopping the use of psychological tests and parental competence examinations of Greenlandic families in Denmark." He also said that the Danish government had agreed to reassess cases where a psychological test may have led to the wrongful placement of Greenlandic children. In her statement, Heerstrup Andersen said, "A child being removed from home is one of the most intrusive things that can happen to a family. The government of Greenland has raised serious concerns about the approach to children's cases involving families with a Greenlandic background. We in the government have listened to the concerns. We have now found a good and common solution, where we replace the use of standardized psychological tests with a special unit that has expertise in Greenlandic language and culture. It is my hope that the solution will give Greenlanders in Denmark peace and security back." The government said the bill would be submitted as soon as possible and planned to bring a new law in force no later than the 1st of May 2025. Now, people may be asking, why are they even creating a replacement thing for this to begin with? Well, they still care about children and making sure that nobody is being abused in their house, or, what other terrible things can happen to you as a child when you're born into a terrible family that treats you badly. So that's why they still have to create a unit for this, some sort of child protection agency. But now they actually know about Greenlandic customs, and they're not going to freak out if you're feeding your child whale. I keep on coming to this whale thing because it's a very popular thing with Inuit people. But bad, it's for their health. We're taking your child away. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's an actual study somewhere where it gives examples of what this unit did, the psychological test did to children or to families to determine that they are not fit parents, and how I'm sure a lot of it is bullshit. A lot of it was probably just okay,
Right.
totally different understanding of how these people work. But good news for Greenland.
Their culture.
They don't no longer have to worry about their children being taken away for bullshit reasons. And on to your good news story.
Okay, more good news from Indonesia. This is Indonesia's groundbreaking government program for free nutritious school meals. This is from MUFPP MUFP Secretariat. That's somebody's name. And it's from the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact.org is the name of this website. A historical moment for school meals. Indonesia is, a lot of people don't realize, the 4th most populated country in the world, behind India, China, and the United States. The 6th of January 2025 marked a historical moment for school meals programs in Asia Pacific. The ambitious Indonesian government subsidized program to provide free nutritious meals to more than 60 million school-aged children was officially launched. The Milan Urban Food Policy Pact has been since the very beginning a key player in supporting the program, recognizing it is an exemplary step to improve children's nutritional status and shaping a more sustainable Indonesian food system. Such a role has been explicitly highlighted by the Indonesian Presidential Communications Office as a testimony of the long-lasting engagement of the Milan Pact with the local authorities and city policy officers. The so-called Nutritious Meals Program is recognized as a flagship initiative of the newly elected President Prabowo Subianto, which has been prioritized among the 8 most important priorities for the current government. The program aims to fight against malnutrition and promote healthy eating via the delivery of high-quality school meals prepared with locally sourced ingredients, with special attention to nutritional education and food waste reduction activities. On its opening day, the program has served over 500,000 meals. The meals are meant to be prepared in central kitchens, more specifically in the nutrition services provision centers. In the first phase, around 200 kitchens run by third-party catering services, a part of which are run by military bases, have been equipped for serving meals. Indonesia is one of the most active countries in the MUFPP, which stands for Milan Urban Food Policy Pact community, which has shown a unique commitment over the years. Indeed, the MUFPP has closely worked with 15 signatory cities in Indonesia to facilitate knowledge sharing among cities and global actors and to support decision-making processes with multi-level governance support. In recent years, the MUFPP has specifically worked with these cities to guide them towards the implementation of school meals programs. Thanks to Cities Feeding the Future initiative of the Social Meals Coalition led by the MUFPP, multiple learning opportunities have been made available for city officials and political representatives in the region. A notable example is the Spreading Experiences and Knowledge on School Meals programs in ASEAN Cities project, developed jointly with ASEAN and funded by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. In July 2024, a summer school was held in Bandung, Indonesia, to provide city officers with technical training and practical tools for the sustainable implementation of school meals programs. Participating city officers also worked on the design of a project to be executed in their home cities for developing school meals programs based on the most pressing needs of each specific context. A total of 13 Indonesian cities successfully participated in the summer school and related activities, testifying to the determined commitment of the country on the topic. It is worth mentioning that a large set of UN bodies, including the World Food Program, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the Food and Agriculture Organization, have also acknowledged the pivotal role of such a program in food system transformation towards the sustainable development goals achievement and have accompanied the Indonesian government towards the program implementation. Words getting hard. The way forward to strengthen efforts towards improving school meals in Indonesia? Well, the Milan Pact is strongly committed to continue supporting the Indonesian government mission on school meals programs, not only by facilitating the sharing of best practices, improving the potential for learning exchanges across the national, regional, and urban actors, but also via the implementation of advocacy processes to further place school meals as a central priority for action in the region in a partnership with ASEAN, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. Lots of cooperation, lots of development. Anyway, good news. Feeding people.
Yeah.
Children will get smart if they are well fed. One of those things you need for your brain is nutrition. And Indonesia, being a large population,
Third largest in the world.
You large population countries, yeah, fourth largest.
Oh, sorry.
Fourth largest. But, yeah. But if you have a large population, you have a chance to really influence the world, right? Grow your technology, grow your economic base, and pretty soon you're a world leader in this and that, and nobody can hold you back. And it all starts with nutrition. Back to you.
Hell yeah. You can't always be eating noodles and spicy rice all the time. That's all I eat. That's the only Indonesian food I eat is freaking noodles, stir-fried noodles, and spicy rice.
East Asia leads the world in eating insects too. So
yeah, that's true. I've always wanted to go to Indonesia and eat some insects from and some frog feet. That's also a thing that they eat as well.
Anything that has protein.
Yeah.
Don't get over your squeamishness.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to start because I think one day we're gonna be eating crickets.
That's why Squeamia was never a successful country, by the way, because it was their squeamishness.
Yeah, the fear factor never worked in Indonesia. The fear factor in Indonesia would be like, eat this bland mashed potato.
I was making up a country. Anyway, never mind. You didn't hear what I said. I was making up a country called Squeamia.
Yeah. Okay.
People are squeamish because they're from Squeamia. Never mind. Dad joke.
Squeamia. All right. Well, let's talk about video games because
never succeeded as a country because everybody
good
was
news I found here was about how some countries out there can go against the tide and become successful in an industry which predominantly was Japan and the U.S. Maybe another European country, but Poland has a lot of successful gaming companies, which is a place you probably don't think of when you think of video games. Unless you do play video games, and you probably know about Poland already. This is from Katarzyna Kubacka on Euronews Culture. Sorry? What are you trying to say?
I'm like a foot away from the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
The coronavirus pandemic, although an economic disaster for most businesses, became a source of success for many Polish gaming companies. But how did they do it? Now get inspired, guys. The big shot in popularity of video games in recent years has seen the Polish gaming scene start to climb not only domestically, but also international. Companies such as CD Projekt Red recorded increases, while others, smaller projects, went into public at the same time. So what has been the key to their success? Although gaming companies were doing so well in Poland that a new WIG Games Index was created on the stock exchange in 2019, bringing together key Polish companies, it was the COVID-19 pandemic that was the golden period for many of those game developers. Popularity was influenced by the lockdown and interest in gaming among users who, confined to their homes, began to crave emotional and spiritual entertainment more than ever. I like how they said spiritual, not emotional. Like, video games can all be logical too, logical entertainment as well, but they're like spiritual, specifically spiritual. The development of the interest in games was seen, among other things, in the huge increases in the WIG Games Index during the pandemic. At the time, games with a post-apocalyptic theme were particularly in demand. The obvious winner of the pandemic was CD Projekt Red, whose stock price skyrocketed and broke its records in August 2020 with a price of 446 PLN 446 or 104.3 euros per share. If you had a share in CD Projekt Red and you cashed out, you would have made bank. However, the pandemic also saw large unexpected profits from seemingly completely inconspicuous companies, such as Creepy Jar Studio. After the box office success of the game Green Hall, the company moved from New Connect to WSE, where it recorded huge increases within 4 months. Due to the growing interest in survival games, other companies connected with the subject have begun to celebrate their triumphs. Drago Entertainment, which deals with games bordering on horror and post-apocalypse, moved from New Connect to WSE in 2023, and Spirit Game Studio is planning to debut New Connect in the future. According to Konrad Pisula, producer at Spectral Games, interest in multiplayer games also increased during the pandemic. There was definitely a lack of some kind of social community experience at the time. A lot of games then started to adapt to that, Isula said. Concerts that would be participated in via games were also popular. Oh yeah, I remember they were having like concerts in Roblox. It's like, oh, we can't go to concerts anymore. There was like a Minecraft concert because people just couldn't go, so they just had them perform concerts in video game form. It was big stars like Travis who were very keen to go on such collaborations because they couldn't give concerts at the time. Creepy Jar is a studio that produces indie survival simulation games that have gained considerable popularity, especially during the pandemic. In 2020, their flagship title, Green Hell, did I say Green Hall earlier? I meant Green Hell, generated more than 30 million euros in sales revenue, which translated into a net profit of 22 million. That's a nice profit share. Thanks to that year, or later that year, the game was made available for Nintendo Switch console, followed by PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in June. Creepy Jar's games are usually simulators that aim to stimulate participants' instincts for self-preservation, a key element of survival in difficult situations. In Green Hell, the challenge is to survive in the harsh conditions of a tropical jungle, hence the green part. This unique approach sets the studio game apart in the market. An interesting genre has already been confirmed by more than 7 million players worldwide. The studio's other flagship game is Star Rupture, which was originally going to be called Chimera. It depicts a world where players have to face extreme temperatures on an alien planet. The protagonists are exiles from Earth who have to acquire resources to build a base and face various unexpected situations. In the studio's games, they see a post-apocalyptic world similar to the films that people remember from their childhood. Perhaps this sentiment has made the company video games so popular, especially among the millennial generation who, after all, associate the console exceptionally well. CD Projekt Red, of course, famous for The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077, wanted to reach out to the sensibilities of people all over the world by providing them with excellent moving entertainment, the developers said on their website. It's probably the most famous Polish video game developer, which began its dizzying career with productions based on Andrzej Sapkowski's cult book series, The Witcher. On the creation of the first game, CD Projekt Red Studio worked for 5 years. In 2007, the premiere took place, and the results from the product sales were so good, they immediately after the debut, the studio started working on its second game. The problem that arose in the meantime was the console version of the first Witcher, on which the work was halted for financial reasons. Eventually, the company canceled the project, with ricocheted off its results. To get out of the difficult situation, the company focused fully on production of the second part of The Witcher, which was released in 2011. Since its release, more than 1.7 million users have purchased it. Now, the company announced that it will celebrate the 10th anniversary of The Witcher 3, which was Game of the Year back when it came out, with a tour in Warsaw in May 2025. The company is also known for the game Cyberpunk 2077, set in a dystopian world of Night City where the corporations run the world and every action can have a serious consequence. Of course, Cyberpunk 2077 is based off of a tabletop RPG of similar... I don't think it's called Cyberpunk 2077 though. I think it's called Cyberpunk 2012 or something like that. Or 2020? 2020? Which already happened, and unfortunately we do not have cool lit augments on our bodies. I wish I could replace my eyes with augmented eyes, because then I wouldn't need glasses. And I could zoom really close and zoom really far and see in X-ray vision or something. Although the strong boom in video games has passed somewhat, as can be seen, for example, from the graph of the WIG Games Index, Polish audiences are still intensely interested in the products of companies that have already established themselves on the market. Except that, analysts say, the trend has changed recently, at least when it comes to visuals and what really interests the video game viewer. As experts point out, the interest in realistic graphics is now the domain of 40 to 50-year-olds, while young audiences are now mainly interested in games that support social interaction. Graphics should be simple, like in the US-made game Fortnite, published by Epic Games, or the Chinese production Genshin Impact. I get what they're saying by simple. It's not realism. It's definitely still cartoony cel shading and stuff. I guess that's what they mean. I wouldn't say it's simple to make the graphics in Genshin Impact. That definitely can burn some GPUs out there, okay? Pisula said this trend, which started during the pandemic, is growing stronger. Most of the joy of these games is not its graphics, but the fact that you can play them together, and that there are social bonds. I myself have very fond memories of playing such games together with my mates, literally for hours. Any Castle Crasher gamers out there? I used to play Castle Crashers with my friends all the time. They definitely train multiplayer games, but for more hours. It's like a bit like a TV series. When someone starts a series that has 50 episodes, you say, I don't have time. I'll watch the one that has 8. So what he's saying is a lot of single player games have a lot of hours in, 50 hours, 180, whatever. Where multiplayer games don't really have an hour limit. You can play it for 2 hours a day, 8 hours a day, whatever you want. There's a bit like with video games, in the sense that suddenly, when more time appeared, people started playing games that engage for longer. They wouldn't have played them before because there simply wasn't time, this was explained. As for the future of Polish video games, stock market analysis assumes a quiet, stable time for most companies involved in video games. Of course, The Witcher series has influenced its popularity, as on Netflix, which came out in 2020, and the books by Sapkowski, creator of the Witcher saga, has been translated in over 20 languages. There's also a new season coming out soon with a different actor playing Geralt, the main character, and I'm sure a lot of people are not going to be watching that because a lot of people don't like it when you change actors for a character. It kind of messes up your brain a little bit. But they are also releasing, probably in the next 5 years, another Witcher game as well, which got a lot of controversy because the main character is going to be the adopted daughter of the previous main character. And so there's gamers out there who don't like women being the main character. I can relate to this woman being a character. Little did they know that we're all humans, and we're all very similar, actually. And men and women have very, very little amounts of differences between each other.
If you're a loser, you look for any advantage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't like
man,
this.
I can't possibly do that.
Yeah. But there you go. There's your inspiring story of how Poland was able to create a flourishing Polish gaming community and also gaming industry. And on to this day in history.
I'm gonna start doing a this day in the French Revolution. What do you think about that one? So I think we're in the middle. I think we're at the beginning of a French style revolution. I think, at least I hope, where the rich people get their comeuppance by being dragged through the street, kicking and screaming. And this day in 1506, though, the Swiss guards first arrived at the Vatican as watchmen for the Pope. Why the Swiss? I have no idea. Maybe that's where they developed the Swiss Army knife. In 1793, in this day in the French Revolution, Louis XVI, the last Bourbon king of France, was executed by a guillotine in Paris during the French Revolution. Louis XVI literally lost his head. So there's today's French Revolution tidbit. Like, hey, you want to be rich? You want to have way too much money than you can really need? We're coming for you. It's starting, man. All you rich people are going to watch out. You got too much wealth. Too much wealth is not a good thing. Not at the top. Anyway, in 1885, Leadbelly, or his real name was Huddie Ledbetter, African-American folk blues singer, songwriter, and guitarist, was born. His ability to perform a vast repertoire of songs in conjunction with his notoriously violent life made him a legend. He is believed to have been born on this day. Toured with Woody Guthrie, among others. Woody Guthrie, I can't think of everybody's name all of a sudden. 1905, Christian Dior was born. Her label became an enduring worldwide success. She was born in Granville, France. In 1924, Vladimir Lenin died. He led Russian Revolution and later served as his first head of state. And he died on this day in 1924, so 101 years ago. 1941 is a birthday of Spanish-born singer Placido Domingo. He was born in Madrid. He was an operatic tenor whose voice, physical stature, and dramatic ability made him one of the most popular tenors of the 20th and early 21st century. Happy birthday, Placido Domingo, if you're still around. 1996, cleanup of 1.8 million gallons of oil began near Block Island National Wildlife Refuge, Rhode Island, 2 days after the barge North Cape ran aground and created a 12-mile oil slick. Yeah, let's run this oil over by that National Wildlife Refuge. What bad could happen?
That's what was missing the whole time. You know, it would have been way better after that.
Yeah. In 1997, on this day, American politician Newt Gingrich became the first speaker of the history of the U.S. House of Representatives to be given a formal reprimand for ethics violations after the House voted 395 to 28 in favor of the measure. Yikes. Newt Gingrich, just a giant turd. 2010, in the Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, the U.S. Supreme Court decided that yes, corporations are people. Yeah. That laws preventing corporations and unions from using general treasury funds for independent electioneering communications violated the First Amendment's guarantee of freedom of speech. And the country has continued to go to shit because of that fucking decision by a bunch of oligarch bought and paid for Supreme Court fascists. 2017, demonstrations known collectively as the Women's March were held throughout the world to support gender equality, civil rights, and other issues that were expected to face challenges under the newly inaugurated Diaper Donnie Trump. It was widely believed to be the largest single-day demonstration in the U.S. history. We're done demonstrating. Now we're just going to have a French-style revolution. Get ready, rich people. You're going down. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be quick. Other birthdays, well, our featured event today, 1976 was the first commercial Concorde flight, generating a sonic boom as it traveled through the atmosphere at supersonic speed. The Concorde, a commercial aircraft built with funding from the British and French governments, began regular service on this day in 1976. I wish it was still going. That would be cool to get, New York to Paris in like 45 minutes. Whatever it was. Supersonic travel, man. Imagine we used to do that. When people say, we never went to the moon. Bullshit. We got supersonic travel. What's wrong with you morons? We can travel twice the speed of sound in a commercial jet. But we can't go to the moon? Give me a fucking break. You moonlander deniers are the dumbest people on the planet. Well, second to the flat earthers. The second dumbest people on the planet. Other birthdays besides lead-belting Christian Dior and Placido Domingo is Paul Allen, American investor and philanthropist and partner with Bill Gates in starting Microsoft. In 1963, it was the birthday of Paul Allen's birthday is 1953, so he's turning 72. Hakeem Olajuwon, American basketball player who is not American. He was born in Africa, but I guess he's converted to an American. Anyway, he was born this day in 1963, so happy 62nd birthday. Also the birthday of American golfer Jack Nicklaus. Happy 85th birthday to Jack Nicklaus, born in Columbus, Ohio on this day in 1940. And what other days is it? It's National Hugging Day, so get out there and hug people and spread what contagious disease you have. And Squirrel Appreciation Day. What's that?
Or spread the love, not your disease. The love.
Spread the love.
Spread the love. World needs more love and less hate.
And squirrels. Appreciate your squirrels. There's nutty. As I call them tree rats. I call them lonely tree rats. They are for the same order or whatever. National Granola Bar Day, and it's National Hyaluronic Acid Day. Now, I don't know how hyaluronic acid is, but I feel like it's in my stomach right now. Everyone's skin needs a little hydration, especially during the cold, dry winter months. Hyaluronic acid is the second most searched beauty ingredient of 2021. It's the also popular ingredient and recommended by dermatologists. Okay, so it's good for your skin. Those are your days, your anniversaries, all that fun stuff. On January, well, what is it? January 2021st?
Yep.
January 21st, 2025. On Before Hugging.
All right. Yeah, and you can also give yourself a hug. That 20 seconds of self-love also makes your life better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to keep saying that for the rest of the year. Just keep on hugging yourself and hugging everyone around you. And people will realize being angry and hateful is not really worth it. How fitting. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, and of course, Raj.
Oh, right. I did say
I already got it. You don't need to tell me. I've already done it.
Right.
And this has been Raj from the west coast of the United States. As we tie off this positive news on Good Tuesday, and we will see you tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday, where we'll cover all the wacky and weird news going out there, because it's wacky out there. People are doing weird things, and it's all in good fun, because humanity does not have all the answers, and they're just shambling around in the dark most of the times, trying to figure out what's going on. So, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care out there. Don't forget to subscribe to the Allie and Raj channel, turn on those notifications, and comment down below what positive things happened to you today. And here is our mic drop moment.
Brain surgeon, his son, and a neighbor ignored evacuation warnings as they tried everything to save their homes right on the oceanfront in Malibu.
Video proof of
For 2
saving
straight days and nights, they fought the
from the fire.
blaze, struggling to put out flames wherever they erupted. You can hear the raspiness from breathing the smoky air.
This is why we can't leave. Back on fire.
Even after a team of firefighters reached the neighborhood, the doctor, his son, and neighbor continued to battle in a blizzard of burning embers. Brain surgeon Chester Griffiths says it wasn't just physical bravery. He planned years in advance for this disaster, buying high-pressure hoses, professional
the
firefighting
nice
gear,
planning.
and flame retardant.
Yeah, dead right. There you go. Over that beam.
You live in a place that catches on fire and you don't
You really
plan
prepared
for it
for
at
this
all.
moment,
It's
didn't you?
crazy.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of the successful outcome. When we moved to Malibu, we
sounds like he
realized we
smokes
were
20
in a
packs a
fire
day.
zone. So I became active in training where you learn all about disaster preparedness.
Dr. Griffith's son, Chester Jr., told me about the harrowing fight.
Was there a moment when this wall of flames was coming towards you that you thought you might not make it out alive?
I'll tell you the scariest moment was the second night as all the houses north of us were starting to burn and
Ooh,
there were no
scary.
firefighters there at the time and we had no water pressure.
We need a water drop.
We need a water drop.
Neighbor Clayton Colbert fought alongside them as he watched in horror as houses all around them went up in flames.
I was determined. If my house wasn't burning down or none of my neighbors were burning down.
For nearly 2 full days, they were fighting fires on
2
their own
days,
before help
yeah.
finally arrived. Thanks to their efforts, they saved these 5 houses along the beach, when for 3 miles down the road, so many other homes were wiped out.
Wow,
Among the
like
homes
the
they
difference.
saved, this 3-story mansion, images of it still standing, have been seen around the world. It was a bittersweet victory. An exhausted Dr. Griffiths was overcome with emotion as he saw for the first time the devastation around him.
This is another great story about how people sit down and wait for somebody else to help them. When sometimes you have to help yourself.
I don't even know what I look like.
Firefighters are human just like you. They're not some sort of superhero with anti-fire repellent, you know?
It's all cold. Oh my God.
So. Yeah.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.